First he made trading cards, now we have Fitwars. Surely the final step is going to be some Top Trumps, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh type CrossFit battle card game. Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about Fitwars, an opportunity to see Colton Mertens take on Scott Tetlow in a one-on-one unknown workout for bragging rights and a little bit of cash too. So let's talk about what Fitwars is. We'll see how Nick, also known as Wodzombie, was inspired by a conversation he heard on a podcast, how he was able to pull in some other names within the CrossFit space to make this happen. But more importantly, why is this so much more than a simple workout? And what could the future look like for this kind of event? But before we get to that, just a reminder to like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it around if you can, or if you want to follow me on Instagram at JasonCFmedia, you can do that, or you can support me on Patreon or other ways. There are probably links for all of that somewhere. But now let's start looking at Fitwars. So of course, before I wanted to make a video on this, I reached out to Nick to get a little bit more information, and he actually provided me with way more information than I ever expected. So I want to thank him for that, because if you've watched any of my videos, you know how much I value cold, hard facts. So let's start with how this idea was first incepted into Nick's brain. Well, on episode 171 of the Sevan podcast with Jason Hopper, they were joking about the idea of him just rocking up to different athletes, affiliates or gyms, and kind of calling them out for this one-on-one workout. Now, what may have just been a funny bit for some people, well, it was something more for Nick, because this is something he really wanted to see. And what I really loved from speaking with Nick was this wasn't something he then decided he wanted to do. He just wanted them to do it. He really wanted to see this happen. Now, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, people got very busy with other projects, so it then fell to Nick to be the one to organize this if it was something he really wanted to see happen. Now, if you want an idea of how Fitwars will actually work, think about the open announcements. It's a very similar format to that. We're going to have two athletes going head-to-head on an unknown workout. However, both athletes will be performing this from their local affiliate, and then it will be live streamed onto YouTube for us to enjoy, with a nice cash prize for the winner, but also the runner-up or loser will be getting some money too. And it will be taking place this Sunday. Now, something that I think could be a real key to success for this event is the fact that Nick, Mr. Wodzombie himself, has pulled in other names within the CrossFit space to help pull off this event. Two big names that have been involved from the very beginning are Brian Friend and Andrew Hiller. It will actually be streamed on Andrew Hiller's YouTube channel, with both Andrew and Brian providing commentary for the event. And something that I thought was really interesting is that Nick said the reason he reached out to Brian in the first place was because he wanted to make sure that the workout would be fair. Considering it is a one-on-one workout, he didn't want there to be some incredibly unfair advantage just due to something like the athlete's height. Obviously, that's something you can't account for, or something that does happen in a field of 20 to 40 people. But if it's just going to be a head-to-head workout, he kind of wanted to eliminate that unfair advantage. And when we're talking about people involved, I should also throw in at this point that the event will be sponsored by Paper Street Coffee. Okay, so some of the more eagle-eyed viewers among you might notice a slight continuity error at this point. So basically what had happened is I'd completely finished the video, I'd finished editing it, and because of a software update, I basically couldn't reopen that file anymore, so I couldn't export it and upload it. And I also had a deadline to do that because I needed to go out. Which I've now done, but that has meant that I've had to re-edit the entire video. So as admittedly frustrating as that was for me, one positive silver lining is that between the corruption of the file and me now re-editing it all, Wodzombie did put out another post about Fitwars. So we now actually have an equipment list for the workout. So the athletes will require a judge, that's good, a cameraman, it's going to be streamed, a 45-pound bar, 4 times 45-pound plates, 2 times 25-pound plates, gymnastic rings at muscle-up height. Doesn't necessarily guarantee it's just muscle-ups, but we're going to see some gymnastics on the rings by the looks of things. Clips and collars times 2. So we've got a barbell, plates, and gymnastic rings. And within that post, they've also put out kind of a program for the day's event. So we're going to have an intro by Brian and Hiller. The athletes will join the stream, workout is announced, they can then prepare the equipment, the athletes will be briefed by Hiller and Brian, 3, 2, 1, go, workout is done, winner announced, and then post-workout interview and Q&A. And I think that could be a really interesting element added to the Fitwars. Unfortunately, I won't really focus on that for the rest of the video because I didn't know about it until now. But anyway, let's return to what I recorded earlier. Of course, the other thing he needed for this to be a success was athletes. So he reached out to a number of high-level games caliber athletes. Colton Mertens was in from the very beginning, and in this first Fitwars, he will be going up against Scott Tetlow. But wait a second, did I say first? Well, that's because Nick also shared with me a list of other athletes, both male and female, that he had been in touch with who had shown interest in the event. Some had said yes, they'd been up for it. Others were interested. Maybe they didn't want to be the very first to try it out, but they could definitely be keen in the future. So if you want to see your favorite athlete throw down head-to-head against another athlete, well then make sure you support this first one, because this could really kick open the door for many more to come. Now, Nick didn't say I couldn't share the list, but I'm not going to because I think if this does happen, it will be much better to have these as a surprise down the line. And talking of your favorite athlete, that's another reason why I think this Fitwars format could be really beneficial for the athletes. And that is because we know that your personal brand within CrossFit can be incredibly important, maybe even more important than how you perform on the competition field. I did make a video some time ago talking about whether or not it's better to be good or popular. The answer is, of course, both, but we've also seen that people will finish lower at the CrossFit Games or a semi-final event, yet due to their popularity, they still get more sponsorship, more support, more love from the fans than another athlete that will actually outperform them on the competition floor. And that's not necessarily because we don't like these athletes. Sometimes it can just be hard to identify new athletes that we want to follow. For example, Colton Mertens was at the CrossFit Games, but if we weren't looking for him specifically, would we have seen him? Maybe, maybe not. And if we don't think popularity is that important, just remember the whole deal with the Noble jerseys, that when they wanted to add additional athletes, that was basically a popularity contest. So it really does matter. And while it might be hard to pick out an athlete on a field of 20 or 40, on a field of 2, it's going to be a lot easier. And that means it's going to give us a chance to watch athletes that we might not have been able to focus on as much in the past. And I'm really hoping at the end of this, we'll see a nice little bump in the number of followers and supporters for both Mr. Mertens and Tetlow. So I really think there's a lot we can take away from Fitwars. It shows what people within the community can pull off. It is not just big brands, big competitions that are able to put on something that we actually want to see. And it's also nice to see another opportunity for the athletes to make a little bit of money. They don't have any travel expenses. It's not that they need to buy out a week or two to travel that's going to interrupt their training. It's one and done workout that leaves them with some money in their pocket and also some time to shine on the stream. It's not like they're going to be competing over the course of an entire weekend and maybe the camera never even pans to them. And it's also good for us as CrossFit fans. Maybe we want to watch some elite level fitness, but we don't want to block out an entire weekend or more. Here's one workout we can watch, we can enjoy, and we can move on with our day. Now, as I said, it will be streaming on Andrew Hiller's YouTube channel. You can already go there to be notified for when it goes live. But as always, I'm really curious to know what you think. Is one-on-one competition something you'd be interested in seeing within the CrossFit space? Have you maybe already got a dream athlete you'd like to see, or perhaps a dream pair you'd like to see go head-to-head? Please let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.